Welcome back to Gentleman's Corner, guys. My name is David. Today is another Splendid Saturday video for you. Today I am smoking my brand new calabash. New being relative because it is a vintage calabash that I got on eBay. Come on. Very nice. So, I'm doing a closer look video on this calabash later on in the week. But first, I wanted to give a channel update. Right now, we are currently at about 533 subscribers. We've been fluctuating between about 529 and 533. I think as of this morning, we were at like 531, 32, something like that. And then looking ahead into the coming weeks, it is going to be the whiskey review for Woodford Reserve Bourbon, and then finally, Sutliff Multidolce. And I promise you, nobody has been anticipating that review more than me, as much as it has been hyped up by my followers. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to review it here on the channel. Ooh. By the way, in case you're wondering, I'm smoking Lane 1Q in this. It's kind of my standard go-to tobacco for breaking in pipes because it's aromatic without being too heavily aromatic. It's not going to overtly flavor any pipe that I smoke with it, so just a good meat and potatoes aromatic that I know how it's going to behave. I know what to expect out of it, and so it gives me a good read on a pipe whenever I smoke it for the first time. Now, this really is excellent. Really excellent. I cannot wait to do the video on this. Anyway, moving forward, I alluded to this a couple of weeks ago during a Splendid Saturday, but Phil from the Breyer Report and I are working on a little project together. I alluded to this, and I mentioned that there is going to be a giveaway that is going to be associated with that project, and the prizes for the giveaway arrived in my mailbox earlier this week. So be very excited, because it's going to be fun. And I've been dropping little hints here and there. And you're not even aware that I'm dropping hints because you don't know what to look for. But it's okay. It'll all make sense. It'll all make sense. You're all going to like it. You're going to like it. Anyway, currently I am in the process of working on my part of it, and then I will send it back to Phil, and he will work on his part of it. And once it is done, we will bring it forward for you to view, and I will do the giveaway. And some of you will come away with a prize. So, right now I'm just trying to come up with fun ways to do the giveaway. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the description or in the comment section below this video. I'd love to discuss what other presenters have done that you think is really cool, that you would like to see tried out here on Gentleman's Corner. So, getting into the topic of today's video, mosquitoes. Getting into the topic of today's videos, where to begin? Okay, so first off, for those of you who do and don't follow Sutliff Tobacco on their social media, you should. But what they have recently announced is that they are coming out with 5 new blends. That is right, 5 new blends. I feel like a TV anchor doing that. 5 new blends. Anyway, they have not announced what these blends are going to be yet, and I know that because I checked this morning, and they still have not announced what they're going to be at least not that I have seen. But I think it's really cool that Sutliff is continuing to produce blends despite the fact that the FDA deeming regulations make it harder on them. So, hopefully we're going to see those blends here in the States. Now, getting into the flip side of that coin, I mentioned it, the FDA deeming regulations. Currently, there is no update on the regulations. I know that, I want to say there was some extended deadline that is coming up here in just a couple of weeks, actually. I think it was May 8th. And I don't remember what specific deadline it was. I'd have to go back and look it up. But I do know that there is a deadline coming up here in the next week or so. But that's not the only thing that is going on. If you follow the International Premium Cigar and Pipe Retailers Association, IPC PRACA, you all know who I'm talking about. If you follow the tobacco news, you know who I'm talking about. They have been releasing several stories recently, and I wanted to talk about them a little bit. Related to the idea of raising the age to purchase tobacco products from 18 to 21. And thought I might talk about that here on the channel just very quickly, because we are a tobacco channel predominantly. So the whole idea of these goes back to this idea that teens are buying tobacco products or that they are being provided tobacco products and then they are smoking them. And the whole idea is that if you raise the age to buy tobacco products, that they are not going to then be provided or accessible to minors. This, in theory, it works, because what we're finding out is you have, 18-year-olds that are still in high school, they're seniors, and they're going to gas stations, tobacco shops, predominantly vape shops, and they are buying these little e-cigs, the blue e-cigs. I think for a while they had Enjoy with the just NJOY, Enjoy. And then now you have these USB looking ones, Juuls, I guess, if I remember correctly, that's what they're called. And the whole idea is, you have all of these vape products that are getting into the hands of teenagers. And they're getting it as a black market product from people who are of age that are then buying it and selling it, usually at a pretty substantial hiked rate, to their friends. Now, the whole idea is that if you raise the minimum age, you will then have someone who is 18 is no longer able to buy these products, and they therefore cannot provide them to minors. This is a great idea in theory. However, real life, as it so often does, tends to be demonstrative of where theory can go wrong. Because what you're still having is, let's take another age-regulated item, alcohol. You can't tell me that when you were in high school, if you ran in certain circles, you didn't know who to go to that could get booze. And usually it was, somebody's older brother would go and buy it for you, and you all have a house party. Or maybe I've just been watching way too many 80s movies. Who knows? But I know that, when I was in high school, everyone knew that alcohol was at these parties. In fact, a lot of times there was also illicit drugs. It was just not a good thing. But my point is that these tobacco laws are playing off of the same premise that alcohol laws did back in the 80s. And that is, if we raise the age to buy them, then it's going to prevent teens from getting a hold of them. And to a degree, I think that it is going to show a reduction in teen use, But I think the bigger problem is you're addressing the symptom that's causing, or you're addressing the symptom that teens are smoking, rather than the root problem of why are they smoking. Now let's take pipe smokers, for example. Why do we smoke pipes? Is it because they look cool? Is it because we have family ties, family tradition? There's any number of things, and it's really up to the individual smoker to decide why they smoke. But for young people, a lot of the time, I think it's a mix between they are overstressed and overworked, and they don't really realize the risks. Because think about it, when you were 18, you thought you were invincible. And I know I did. You think you're invincible. And you think that, nothing is going to hurt me as long as I do it in moderation. And then you realize that, well, I'm not as good at moderating myself as I thought I was. I know I was that way with soda. Soda was, I was drinking 2 sodas a day, and then eventually it became 3 a day, and then 4 a day, to get the same feeling that I used to get from 1 or 2 a day. And as I've gotten older, I've realized what that does to my body. So I've had to back way, way off of soda and sugar and all that. I think it's the same thing with smoking. It's, these kids don't realize just how harmful some of this stuff can be. Everybody's got the uncle who, smoked a pack a day for his entire life and he lived to be 130. Everybody's got that one weird uncle that, magically beat the statistics. And I don't think these kids always realize that's not always going to be you. At the same time, I don't think that the scare tactics that the government is using are really the best direction. I think if you tell kids that they should be scared of something, and you tell them not to do it because it's going to kill them, they're a whole lot less likely to listen to you because a lot of it just sounds hyperbolic. It just sounds like you're puffing. No pun intended. It sounds hyperbolic. And so the kid is a lot less likely to take you seriously. I think what needs to happen is there needs to be a real education about the risks of vice habits. Okay? And when I say vice habits, I mean gambling, drinking, smoking. All of these I would consider vice habits. Okay? And they're not necessarily habits for everybody. For some people, it's a hobby. I know people who are able to go to a casino and play $20 and be done, and they're good. They don't go crazy. You have other people like Clark Griswold in Vegas Vacation that cannot stop themselves from gambling. So I think that there needs to be a real discussion about addiction and whether something is a habit and where it crosses the line from being a hobby to a habit. There also needs to be some real education about the risks that you're undertaking. For instance, let's take my favorite drink, scotch, okay? Or any alcohol, really, but scotch is my favorite. I can drink 1 dram of scotch a month, and I'm usually pretty good. I may have a second one if I'm being social, but on the whole, that's enough for me. I don't need it. But I understand that the more that I drink, the more I'm impacting my liver. Just the same way as I understand if I drink more and more soda, I am probably raising the chances of myself having a kidney stone. Or if I smoke 10 pipes a day, I'm probably going to increase my chances of developing throat and lip cancer. That is just the reality of the habits and hobbies that we partake in. And I think if you were to sit down with a young person and have a real educated, very frank discussion and educate them about these risks, it would help them to make an informed decision of, do I really want to take that risk? For instance, pipes and cigars have been scientifically proven to be less harmful statistically than cigarettes. That's not saying that pipes and cigars are healthy, but statistically speaking, they are less harmful than cigarettes. Okay, that's a real low bar to meet. That's a real low bar to meet, and they may only be just above that bar. I don't know, but these commercials that they show kids these days, where it's like, the lady who has the hole in her throat that talks through a box. I don't think that that's the right way to talk to kids, because they're going to look at that and they're going to go, yeah, but that's a 1 in a million chance. That's not going to happen to me. I think if they were educated about the risks, they'd be a lot less likely to pick up hobbies and habits recklessly. Which is a very, very long, roundabout way of saying, I get the spirit of the laws or the bills that are being proposed, and I don't necessarily disagree with them passing. However, I think that they miss the point, because these habits start at home, right? These things start with very frank conversations with your children and their friends, and having a real human connection with them and explaining to them, look, you're old enough now to make this decision, but I want you to know this is what you're deciding. These are the risks that you're taking. These are the statistics. And maybe just have a better conversation. Yeah, is that too much to ask? Anyway, my pipe keeps going out. For those of you who are wondering, I will be doing a closer look video on this now that it has come back from the cleaners. This is my very first calabash. I've never had one before, and it's really, really interesting. This is an Orlick pipe that was made in London. And everything that I can find on is that it was made in the mid-'80s, and for the most part, it's a very good pipe. So, anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I just wanted to have kind of some of that discussion. And if you have some thoughts on this, post them down in the comment section below. I know that a lot of us, when we turned 18, the first thing that we did was went out and bought, either a pack of cigarettes, or we bought a cigar, or our first pipe, because it was the thing to do. It was the rite of passage. Along with voting and buying naughty magazines, it's one of the only vice things that you can do as an 18-year-old, unless you're in the military, in which case you can drink on base. But for so long, it was a rite of passage for young people to say, welcome into adulthood. You can now do these things. And I think that the traditions will still be there. Kids are just going to need to wait a little longer. And I think the world will probably be fine. I think we'll be fine. So if you have some thoughts on it, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'd love to engage in some discussion with you. If some of the thoughts are especially thought-provoking, I may even share them on the next Splendid Saturday. So other than that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe. And please do hit the notification button next to the subscribe button. It looks like a little bell, and it will send you a notification anytime I upload a new video. If you'd like to connect with me on other social media, You can find the links to my Instagram and Twitter in the description box below this video. That is the fastest way to get updates on anything that is going on the channel. Let me think. Be looking forward in the next couple of weeks for the Woodford Reserve Bourbon review and the Sutliff Molto Dolce Pipe Tobacco review. I recently celebrated my birthday this week, and so I will be looking, I got some money from that as my present, so I'm looking to buy some more pipe blends. If you have some suggestions of pipe blends that you'd like to see reviewed on the channel, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will give them some preponderance. Other than that, guys, this has been a splendid Saturday here on Gentleman's Corner. My name is David. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a splendid Saturday wherever you are and whenever you're watching this video. And other than that, have a good one.